There is a space in my heart where I find the truth. I find me in you, a truth beyond what you may see now. But when we are one, we bring more good about. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah. There is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. I see with new eyes, allow and unfold, embrace and let go, trust the flow. There's a freedom in love when you follow your heart. Together we are stronger than we could ever be apart. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah. There is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. Breathe in and out, slowly feel all that's around you, all that you feel, all that you know. Let it go. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. Yeah, when we unite. Oh, we unite. Yeah, yeah, when we unite. Yeah, yeah. You are welcome here. Love is welcome here. Peace is welcome here. You are welcome here.
Yes, you are welcome here. Welcome to the house of love, the house of transformation. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, and good day to you wherever you are at this very moment in time, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for tuning in to yourself. As I always say every week, it's important to tune into yourself first and then tuning in. And as you tune in, you give yourself permission. Well, once you tune in, you listen. Well, you can tune in and not listen, because if you tune in and don't listen, you're wasting energy tuning in. So when you tune in, you might as well listen. And when you do that, you make room, you make space for your transformation. I am Ade your transformational beingness artist. That's who I be. I be the one you've been searching for to point you back to yourself. Hey Jackie, how are you doing, my dear sister? Let me just make sure. I know you would tell. Well, you're on YouTube, so if there was no sound, you would have told me. And if you didn't tell me, if there's no sound and you're not telling me, you're fired. Ooh, I got the nerve. Anyway, welcome to another episode of Ade Presents Being You, the journey back to yourself. This is season 4, episode 21. Being You, the podcast, is an invitation. It's a reminder, it's a pointer. It's a space and a place to remind you that you belong, you matter. Everything that you are experiencing is important, whether you like it or not. So whenever you're going through and growing through whatever you're going through and growing through, it's important to just affirm, to come back to yourself. You can mix this up, or you can do it this way. You can say, I am present, I am here, I am now. Or you can say, I am here, I am present, I am now. However you do it is going to take you to the same place, back into you. I am here. I am present. I am now. The spiritual tools, they feel very simple. It's like, thank you, Jackie. They feel simple. They feel like, yeah, okay, so I'm just going to take a deep breath and I'm going to say some words. Now what? See, that's the intellect. See, your spirit is simple. Your pure essence, your truth. You are truth, and truth is simple. It's simple, and when you yield to it, when you let it, you start to find that you're moving through life in a simple way. You move through challenges. Doesn't mean you don't have challenges. You just have a different way of looking at it. And if you don't have a different way of looking at it, because you've been doing your spiritual practice, you remember yourself. You remind yourself to pull away, to kind of recognize, okay, this is an issue I need to deal with. I don't know how, but there's going to be an answer. But if you feel like there's an issue and you just think, oh my God, I'm doomed, then that's a different way of being. So the affirmation, the taking in of deep breath, is to remind you of who you are. Today is Tuesday, June 14th, 2022. And I welcome you wherever you're listening, whether it's on at Life Coach Ade's account or the at Being You podcast account. Thank you very much. If it's on Facebook, on YouTube, thank you for being here. Maybe someone shared this with you. You don't even know what you're like. I'm hearing in the background. I used to remember people listening to my radio show and they'll have it on speakerphone, on their phone, and one friend said to me one time, I'm in the laundromat, I got you on speakerphone and everybody's listening. I was like, oh, okay. So wherever you're listening, thank you for listening. And I invite you to like it, because you're going to like it. You're going to love it, in fact. If there was a button to say respect it, then I'll tell you to respect it. You're respecting the place where the truth is coming from, the truth that is coming through me, that is landing in that place of truth. And if it doesn't ring as truth for you, then it's not your truth. But what is will ring true for you. So you might as well respect it. You might as well love it. You might as well share it. And if you're on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel, share it, keep sharing, so that you get to a point where your friends are like, what is this thing you keep sharing all the time? Oh my God, I am just going to check it out, just to stop you from sharing it. For those of you who are on Facebook and IG and you want to know where my channel is, it's youtube.com/Life Coach Ade, Life Coach ADE. My sister is in the house. I want to say Nicole, but it's not. And even though you have your in your name here, I am somehow I think your last name is different. It's Chosa something, but I can't remember them. So forgive me. Just being transparent. I'm not going to front like, hey, my sister. Like, I don't know her name. But I do know your name. I just can't remember right now. Yes, so those of you who are on Facebook or Instagram, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Life Coach. No, youtube.com, Life Coach Ade, lifecoachade.com. Welcome to another episode. I am excited and I want to invite you to ask yourself, not just now, but all the time. Ask you, stand there sometimes and say, how do I see myself? Like really, today's topic is being you is the key to being successful. It's the main key to being successful. We'll say more about that. I'm going to leave it alone because if I sit with it long enough, I'll do the show before I do anything else. But here's an invitation to ask yourself, how do I see myself? How do I see the world? How do I see myself in the world? And how do I see the world in me? Those questions you can ask on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. What I will say is ask regularly so you can catch a new awareness of yourself. We're talking about being you as the key to success. And being you is an art. So you must give yourself the space to paint, to create, so you can discover something new. It's really simple. It just requires discipline. It requires intention. It requires an open heart to do something different. Even when it looks like everybody else is doing something that you think you should be doing, but something in your spirit saying, yes, that used to be the thing that you do, but not anymore. You can let it go. But everybody's looking in that direction. You don't have to look in that direction. You can. There's nothing wrong. But when you listen to that inner guidance, you will look in the right direction. You'll be sent to the right place. You will meet the right people, and everything will always work out for your good. Now, there's a trick with that statement. Everything always work out for your good, whether you know it or not. Sometimes, like Rev D would say, you might be going the scenic route, or you may be going a different route. You think, I want to go the fast lane. Sometimes you might get into some bumps and bruises. Your good is still your good. I don't know if you can delay your good. I don't think so. You learn something else. You might learn a different path to your good, like, something told me to turn right, but I went left. Something told me to turn left, but I went right. Something told me to keep walking. Something told me to stay at home. And that's something I call God. I call the divine. I call the universe. I call truth. I call it the great I am. It is the great I am that is having its life as you, expressing itself as you. It is the great I am that led you here, not only just because you know that this is a time for my show, but there's something in you that said, yes, go listen. Because you can know what time the show is and still not show up. So something is leading you to this conversation and you're hearing something, feeling something, knowing something that wants to be known, wants to be seen, wants to be felt, wants to be acknowledged. See, life is so simple. Every moment is sacred. Every moment is unique. And if we're not paying attention, we miss it. So even in this moment, when it looks like I'm just doing an intro for the conversation we're going to have today, God is in it. Truth is in it. Love is in it. Life is in it. Understanding is in it. And because all of that is in it, you're in it. So sometimes it's good to kind of just step out of yourself and watch yourself and feel yourself. What are you feeling right now? What thoughts are you thinking right now? All these questions and the techniques and the tools, when you do it, when you practice them, it gives you an opportunity to see yourself through your own eyes. We spend most of our lives seeing ourselves through the eyes of others, as children and even as adults. As adults, we've been conditioned to do things that make people happy, things that make us feel like what we did was an act of love. What if you did something from a place of love and you were not looking for any reward? you weren't even looking to see if they appreciate it or not. It's a bit on the next level. And sometimes you can, and it's such a next level that really it's, you can get, when you give genuinely, the giving itself becomes the next level. Where you're giving from, should I say. If you're giving to please, if you're giving because it's a transactional kind of experience, then that tells you more about you than the person. But if you give because it brings you so much joy to give that you can't wait to give to them, life just happens through you. That even if they said, "Oh, thank you, but I don't like it," it may be a surprise. Like, "Wow, you didn't like it? Yeah, sure, give it to somebody else." Or you might just say, "Yeah, just give it back. I'll give somebody else. No worries," because you were giving from a place. So you've already received before you gave it to them. And speaking of giving, this is what life is about: giving and receiving. Life is nothing more than giving and receiving because it's an interdependent relationship. We start off believing that, we're dependent on our family, on our parents, on our mother, that we're dependent, that, you know, we can't survive without them. To some extent, yes, when you're an infant, but there's also another life. There's another life that's mothering you, that's nurturing you, that is whispering truth into your mother's ears or your father's ears, that's whispering truth, that's helping you ask for what you want, whether it's through crying, whether through making, uh, uh. That sound itself, a mother understands. So we are in an interdependent relationship with life. There's a codependent relationship, which, that serves its purpose. And sometimes we find ourselves in a relationship where we're dependent on another. Sometimes it's codependent. And then the highest is interdependent. And it's really important to not rush to judging either one of it. That's the problem. That's what gets in the way. What gets in the way of our growth and transformation, self-acceptance, is we run too fast, too quick into judging. Oh, I'm independent. Oh, I'm dependent on somebody. Oh my God, I'm codependent. There are going to be times where you depend on people. There are going to be some times when you're codependent. Now, if this becomes a way of being on and you just don't check yourself, that's a different conversation. It still doesn't make it bad. It means there's something wrong, then there's something that needs to be fixed. There's something that needs to be addressed. Because if you stay in a codependent relationship, a dependent relationship, or you just say, I'm independent, I don't care about anybody else, I can do it, I'm going to do it by myself. You're not really doing it by yourself anyway. You can't, because you're part of something more, something greater. It's about balance. And balance happens when we face ourselves, when we tell the truth. And, this is a great segue. It's about balance. And there are many tools out there. One of the tools that I'm offering this Saturday, which is the weekend of Juneteenth, I am offering. Oh, that segue was just so good. Damn, I'm good. I can tell myself I'm good because I know I'm speaking to the truth of me. Because I'm telling you, there are times I don't tell myself I'm good. There are times I judge myself. So moments when I catch something that's good, I need to affirm it. Call it what you will. Let people call it what you're so full of yourself. Who else should I? Who am I supposed to be full of? You? Of course, we're supposed to be full of ourselves. That's not a judgment. When people tell you full of yourself, tell them, thank you very much. It took me a long time to get to this place. When you're full of yourself and you know you're allowing spirit, you're allowing truth and love and understanding and peace and beauty to radiate through you. Oh my God. Yes. Tell me I'm full of myself. Because there's room here and it's just enough for me. So, going back to my segue, June 18th at 3 p.m. Eastern, I am hosting an event representing our ancestors, and the theme is grief rituals. We're going to come together in community We're going to heal together. We're going to acknowledge the grief. We're going to acknowledge the sorrow. We're going to acknowledge parts of us, parts of our family members, places where the soul, the energy has been frozen. There are things that get frozen in place, a way of being that's passed on. And what is looking for is that warmth of love, that warmth of acceptance. So when you grieve, you're not just doing it for you. You're doing it for generations that came before you, and you're doing it for the ones that come after you. You're creating this space for healing to happen, for love to flow, and your love becomes the warmth that melts the frozen energetic space in those who came before you. And the frozenness could come in so many ways. It can come with the whole thing about mental illness runs in my family, diabetes run in my family. There are things, and sometimes scientists, doctors will say, well, once it's in your family, it's always going to be your family. Not true. Not true. You have to know that for yourself. That is not true. Everything can be healed, and everything wants to be healed. Even yourself, your mind, your body, your spirit is constantly in this dance of healing. So when I had an experience the last few days, and I have another friend who can relate. I'm sure, I know he's listening. I bit the inside of my cheeks, and it's like, oof, you know how it swells up? And then I had to be more aware, more patient, more conscious about how I chew. And every now and then, it's like, bite that same spot. Oh my God. But you know what I realized? Even though it was swelling, it was healing at the same time. It's healed now. So even in the pain, healing was happening. When you go, oh, you get mad, your body said, I know, that hurts. Your body becomes like a mother. I know. It's okay, baby. It's all right. And it heals itself. That power, that presence that heals you, that heals your body without you really knowing what to do. Sometimes you might take some kind of whatever, herb to soothe it. But even when you don't, your body's constantly healing you. It's constantly nurturing you. And what is nurturing your body is nurturing you as a being, as a person. So when we find ourselves in a family where there's some things that it's just been passed down, you may just be the next in line to bring the healing. You may be the one to shine the light of truth on it. That's what grieving is about. Grieving is not just, as I said before, not about just losing a loved one. Grieving could be, you think of, I was saying this yesterday in a broadcast that I did, like maybe a dream that you had, maybe something you thought you'd be somewhere else. Like at this day and age, you thought you were going to be somewhere else. Maybe you thought you're going to be living somewhere else. Maybe you thought you'd be married. Maybe you thought you'd be single by now because that relationship was hell. But you're still in the relationship and don't know how to get out of it. Even now you can grieve while you're in it. And the grieving makes room for love, for acceptance. It helps you. It distresses you. When we do it alone, sometimes it's heavy. But when we do it in community, it's a lot lighter. We're all grieving something, especially in this day and age where we are in the middle of one world ending and another one beginning, another one being birthed. We're birthing the new. We're birthing the new. We're dying to the old and birthing the new. And the bridge, what keeps us grounded, is giving ourselves permission to grieve what hurt, what makes us sad, to grieve the trauma, to grieve the pain. And grieving is an act of love. So anyway, without doing a session now, you can find out more information by going to bit.ly/ancestral healing with the number 9. bit.ly, Ancestral Healing 9, the number 9. It's this Saturday, 3 p.m. Register now. Invite somebody. If you're feeling kind of nervous, yeah, bring your best friend. I have another event coming up in July 9th, which is also under the umbrella of representing our ancestors, but this is called Represent Your Ancestors. When I do that now, I feel like Steve Harvey. Your ass is going to be on YouTube. Representing your ancestors. The theme is what's in the name. Using your names to access deep wisdom, to get to a place that is beyond words, that you can find belonging without necessarily needing a tribe, that your connection with yourself, belonging to you, actually opens the space, the door to the tribe that you're looking for. So rather than look for the tribe so you can belong, you come from a place of belonging. You start to have a different appreciation for yourself, and it's all about healing. Everything that is happening in the world is inviting us back to ourselves. Everything is inviting us back to ourselves. And I'll say more because today's topic is all about that. It is all about that. So, I'm ready to jump in. Feel free to add your comments, to ask your questions, to share your thoughts. And I like to ask questions. I like answering questions, and I like answering questions, and I like it when you ask questions. My mind went blank there because I thought of something, and I was like, what was I trying to say? Being you. Just think about this. Being you, is the key to being successful. Is your key to being successful. What does that mean? What does that mean for you? Being you, as I have on my description for my podcast, which I'm actually going to update soon, is we're told to be ourselves. Just be yourself. All you have to do is be yourself. But most of us we didn't go to that school. Sometimes the school that we were enrolled in they were telling us what we're not. You're so stubborn. You're so rude. You're too fast. What's wrong with you? You got ADHD. They just put all these labels. And we go through the teenage years trying to claim our independence. Like, I refuse to buy into the BS. Or say, well, you've told me who I am, so I'm going to act it out. And then we say, we don't know what happens to teenagers. Once they become teenagers, they come from the devil. They're like, no, you might want to check yourself out too and see what have you done to contribute to your teenager acting the way they do. You're not totally responsible for everything, but as the parent or parents, you had a role to play in what you're experiencing right now. And even when children, and we have the whole thing about the terrible two, that's something else that we created. And then when they become terrible, when they're displaying that, we're saying, oh my God, I can't wait for this phase to be over. You called it, you named it. Why don't you call it something else? Why don't you call it the curious two? An age where they get very curious about everything and a lot more than before. So you can change your experience. Who are you? Do you know who you are? If you were to write a reference for yourself, what would you say about yourself? Would it be affirming? Would you list the things that you've done? Would you say more about who you are? Or would what you write be rooted mainly in self-doubt? Or maybe you may be writing something that sounds good, but are you actually feeling like, ooh, I hope they never find out. Yeah, I need to brush up on that. It's really up to us. So I'm going to summarize this whole show. I tend to do that. I don't know why. Being you is the key to your success. We've seen people who are, when it comes to material materialistic things. We can say they're very successful. They got the money, they got the cars, they're always hanging out, they go to social events, and they got a perfect relationship, the perfect house. Sometimes we don't know what's really going on, and sometimes we find out. We find out from maybe when they write their story, when they write their autobiography. Or maybe sometimes they end up committing suicide. And some of the friends come out and say they were never happy. They never felt like they belonged. I'm thinking of the young sister who was Miss America 3 years ago or something. And she was on Entertainment Tonight doing all sorts. She was an attorney. She was a anchor, Miss America. She had all these accolades. She's beautiful. All the things that the social construct that we say, yep, check, 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 check. And she committed suicide. And when I say that, I'm not even saying as suicide is right or wrong. And calm down. If you think that's just wrong, and how can you say that's not right or wrong? That's just too wrong. Don't worry. Just calm down. What I'm saying to you is, I'm going to go there. Sometimes we don't know why a spirit came here, what role they're here to play. The spiritual truth, when you really start to go deep into it, you're going to start asking deeper questions and questioning some of the answers. I'm not saying people are destined to commit suicide, but we don't know their destiny. We don't know their agreement. Yes, it's sad. Yes, hearts are broken. Family members are torn apart and can't understand why. There's got to be more to it than that. And you don't have to, but we must be willing to see and feel like maybe there's more to this thing that we don't know. We don't know everything. We talk about God, we talk about the universe, we talk about the divine, but we don't know everything. We don't have enough brain cells to understand the divine. You got to tell the truth. There are some things we just don't understand. And sometimes standing in that place, in that space of not understanding, is the most powerful place to stand in. Because when you can say, I don't understand, I don't know, but I'm willing to understand, I'm willing not to understand, you actually create a sort of opening for yourself. You make room in your consciousness to see life differently, far more beyond how it's been prescribed to you. The prescription of life sometimes keeps us trapped. It leaves us feeling unhappy. So if you want to know who you are, and I'm sure all of you here, some of you may be new to your spiritual path. You're already on a spiritual path, but you may be new because now it's a conscious thing. The best way to know you, one of the best ways, is to spend time in stillness, in meditation. That's another word that we use a lot, and now we're saying, well, if it's so interesting that when we get the tools, humans, man, and that's why being you is the key to success. So I finished that statement in my head, but I'm going to say it out loud. We push back at almost everything, and that's fine. But we must be clear in our own selves and be able to look at ourselves and say, I can look at me and say, what do I know for sure? We're in a time where we're redefining what it means to be human, what it means to be a human being, what it means to be a spiritual being, what life really means, what God really means, about our relationship with God, the divine, the great mystery. So there are different labels that are coming up. And sometimes we're so judgmental. We're judgmental about BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, people of color. So it was a time where it was just people of color, and that included Black people and Indigenous people, and I say actually brown people, period, as far as I'm concerned, because there is really no Black people. So we say people of color, and then it became, well, when you really look at it, white people are the one that change color. When they're upset, when they're mad, they go pale, they go red. And then someone looked at the intersection and recognized it. We want to honor the journey of African Americans, the journey of Black people in the Western world. We want to honor the journey of indigenous people. We want to honor the journey of people, the Latinx, the Asians. We want to honor people who have been marginalized. And we can't put it under one label. Now, there are people who say, I'm not a BIPOC, I'm a Black person. Okay. And then some of us say, oh, I wish we don't deal with labels. I'm tired of the labels. On a human body, that's all you ever have. That's all we're ever dealing with. And the minute we change our relationship with the labels, the quicker we see that the thing with label has more than we thought was there. The label you give something determines how you relate to it. And if you could step into, it is what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is, and it will be exactly what I say it is. But can you imagine? I mean, I don't know. I can't even say I get it when people say, I just wish we don't do. What are we going to do? Human beings? Just human beings. We're just human beings. Okay. And then something else will happen. It's like, yeah, we're human beings, but then there is more. Then how do you label that? It's really about what you identify with. Are you identifying with the truth of who you are, who you really are, pure spirit? Or you identifying with the labels? Whether you were abused, and that's a label that you use. Maybe you were betrayed. Whatever it is, the labels are the labels. Don't invest too much of your time in them. The journey, the process, the real work is recognizing who you are. And when you know who you are, it's a different way of being. When you know who you are, you can have the material wealth. And you have the foundation and understanding that if something happens to your material wealth, you can replace it. Or even if you don't know that, you're not even thinking that, you are so rooted in who you are that you know you're not defined by the material wealth. You're not defined by the things that you have or don't have. You're defined by who you are. And that's true success. If you don't know who you are, if you struggle to be who you are, if you don't really nervous to express your voice, no amount of material wealth can make you feel at peace with yourself. So whether you're materially wealthy or not, when you know yourself, when you're living from a place of truth, it's an art. It's not linear. It's not like, okay, now I know myself. There might be some times when you doubt, like, is this really me? It's an art. It goes round. Sometimes you question what you say you know. Sometimes you're standing confidently in what you know. But it doesn't change who you are. That's success. Because you're already successful. We are all successful. So the things that we do, people, places, and things help us express the success that is already in us. How do you tap into that space, that place in you that helps you, that guides you, that directs you? It's like plugging in. You really want to plug in? Pay attention to your gifts. Pay attention to things that make you come alive. When you're in that place, you are in good. You're in God. You are in truth. You are in the divine. Now, you may find that sometimes you feel like you could better express your thank you, Karen. you find that you can express yourself in certain settings better more than other settings. When you find yourself in a place where you feel like I'm more at home here, and then other places I'm not, it's an opportunity to bring healing, to bring wholeness to that. And sometimes you may find yourself in a place for whatever reason you just feel uncomfortable. Now, you can choose to say, I'm leaving. You can choose to take a deep breath and say, I'm leaving. You can choose to take a deep breath and stay. But when you cultivate a deeper relationship with yourself, you can check in and ask for guidance. But sometimes you just know, without needing to ask, you just know it's time to leave. For whatever reason, when we rush to judgment, we miss the message. When you spend more time knowing yourself, understanding yourself, you can navigate things that are uncomfortable differently because you come to yourself and you resource yourself. When you know yourself, when you are being yourself, you are full of yourself. When you are full of yourself, there is no void. You show up healthy, whole, and complete. Healthy, whole, and complete. So some of you, I used to say this, but I don't say this anymore because I don't know why I forgot. So I'm actually going to post this. So two things you can do. If you're listening, watching this on a different platform, if you really want me to see the comments, two things need to happen. I just saw one from Karen. Um, However, you can go to if you're on Facebook, go into Being You Podcast Facebook page. If you post there, when you post there, I see it. If you're on my profile page, I will see it. If you're on my YouTube channel, I'll see it. But if you're somewhere else other than that, it doesn't come through in the chat box here, so I don't always see it. But every now and then I can see some things because I am clicking and pushing and doing different things over here. But I'm not going to click and do different things as much because it throws me off sometimes. But if it's on the screen in front of me, yeah, I can catch it. So let me flash the. That's what I was trying to do. Speaking of getting thrown off, it's right at the top here. I haven't used this in a long time. Okay, so here it is. Yeah. If you go to the Bing You Podcast page on Facebook, then I can see it. Those of you who may be watching on Facebook on a different platform, well, Facebook is the platform, but maybe someone's page and you want me to see it, go there. Or use my profile page. Or go to youtube.com/Life Coach ADE. That's Life Coach ADE. All right. So let me get back in talking about being successful. Your gifts are the container for your success. And your gift can be expressed wherever you are, whatever you're doing, because your gifts are more of a vibration than a thing that you can hold on to. It's more about the way you show up, the way you show up in the world. Now, there are some things that you do that helps you amplify the gift. For me, I know that I am a teacher, I am a healer, I am an artist, a creative artist. So no matter what I'm doing, wherever I am that. If you're a teacher, if you're a mother, if you got a nurturing spirit, you can be that wherever you are. If you're good with numbers, you can be that wherever you are. If you got eyes for fashion or coordinating, you can do that wherever you are. Your gifts are very universal. Your gifts have universal eyes. They're adaptable. You can use them wherever you are. Whether you're doing something that you don't like, if you give yourself permission to let your dreams, the energy, your dreams, your gift, I meant to say, but maybe your dreams too, let the vibration of your gifts, of your talent come through, it will change how you show up in that space. And when you allow the energy, the vibration of your gift to come through, you will be different. You will feel different. Something that feels like, oh my God, this is taking forever, can actually maybe won't feel so, oh my God, this is taking forever. You may still feel like it's taking a long time, but you're different about it. You catch a new understanding. You start to appreciate what you're doing, even though, this is the last time you're going to do it, because now you're shining your light, the light of truth on this thing that you were once judging or criticizing. Oftentimes, when we feel heavy and like, I hate this, because we're judging it. We're judging it, saying it's not meant to be. This is not what I'm supposed to be doing. And the minute you go into that, your mind, your body say, "Oh, really? Then we can tune out." But when you are doing something and you say, "Oh, I love doing it. This is my gift. This is what I'm supposed to be doing," whether it's not your gift, you just say, "This is I'm here, so this is what I'm supposed to be doing." Something in you comes alive. You come alive. You give yourself permission to show up. You do. No matter what is going on in the world, no matter what's happening in the news, you give yourself permission to show up. You live from a place of successfulness. You live from a place of successfulness. We know of people who have lived this earth. I'm not just even talking about your ancestors. I'm just talking about people that we know publicly. Sometimes it could be family members. Sometimes it could be somebody that's not known nationally or internationally, but that lived life in the midst of the crazies. And they have allowed their light to shine. You know the names. The ones that really resonate with me are the Mandelas of the world. That was oppressed in prison for 27 years and came out shining the light of truth, committed to being who he was created to be. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. I want to say during times are worse than this. And then I'm saying, is it? It could be. What I mean by that is 20 years, 50 years, 60 years from now, chances are those generations are going to look back at the life that we're living and say, oh my God, things were so hard for them. But maybe not. But there are people who have faced adversity, oppression, supremacy, marginalization, abuse, and they stood up because they refused to bow down. They refused to give up to the false, to lack, to limitation, to separation. They decided, they made a choice to come from a place of oneness, to come from that place within them that has the answers. Now, if you, hey Amal, how are you doing? If you read the biographies, sometimes autobiographies of these people, there's stories of Martin Luther King, many, and other people like that, where they would share with their loved ones their fears, their doubts, their worries. But by the time they make it in front of the camera, on stage, they obviously have to deal with that. We all go through that. Just because you're nervous, just because you have all this reason that you're holding on to not show up, doesn't mean that's the way it's supposed to be. You get to deal with yourself. Brother William, how are you doing? Namaskar to you too. You get to deal with yourself, but your success lies in you giving yourself permission. Your peace of mind, your well-being is you showing up as you. Now, showing up as you could be behind. That's interesting. Be behind. Could be being behind the scenes and nobody really knows you. Some of the people that we see on stage, that we hear about, the teachers, the performers, there are people that we never know and never see that are doing a lot of the work, that are writing the speech, that are putting together the graphic, that is composing, that updating the website. We will never meet them, but we put all the accolade on the person that we do see. So wherever you're meant to be, show up, be you. And if you find yourself competing with being, well, I want to be in the front too. Well, find a way, but I don't know what to do. Well, keep being at the back until you figure out how to get to the front. Because if you go to the front without being ready, you might be setting yourself up. How do you prepare for the front? If you know that's where you're supposed to be, you do the work. You do the grief ritual. You do the forgiving. You open your heart. You're willing, you're open to being vulnerable. You're speaking truth, your truth, spiritual truth and personal truth. You're taking time to be quiet, to be still. Take a walk to contemplate. And you're spending time understanding yourself. And even if you find yourself dealing with the same thing over and over and over and over and asking yourself, why am I still dealing with this? There's something there for you to look at. Because you are a place where activity is happening through. What you're experiencing is an activity of all that is happening through you, not to you. You feel sometimes when it's painful like it's happening to me. And it's hard to even say it's happening through me. No, like hell is happening through me. This is happening to me. You know, I share sometimes. This last few weeks is kind of hectic. Life is in session. But I've been doing the things that I know to do while having conversations with people that I know can support me to really figure out some things. Part of it's around business. Other things are a bit more personal. But you keep moving forward. So wherever you are, when you show up as you, whether you have what others have or not, you can stand in truth. You can stand in you. You can stand as you. Think about the things that you want right now, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job, whether it's a certain amount of money on a monthly basis, whether it's a business, whether you want to write a book. We all have dreams, we have goals, we got things that we want to accomplish. And we may not always talk about that, but it's running in the background. And sometimes because we haven't experienced it or we haven't realized it, we think there's something wrong with us. But when you're willing to face it and ask deeper questions, and sometimes just being able to say, God, I don't know what to do. Show me, send me the right people, lead me in the right direction. I know, I believe that you're guiding my every step. And I know that who I am is pure spirit. So I am affirming that I make right decisions. I am affirming that deep down I know what to do, when to do it, how to do it, who to do it with. I'm going to live that intention. So I'm going to step out. I'm going to make this call, understanding that I know what to do and I have what I need inside of me. I may not know it in this very moment, but it's in me. So if it's in me, I know it in this very moment. Sometimes you got to be your own hype man, hype woman. I've done some things and I've done it very well. Okay, maybe I'm nervous because this is new. I'm one with life. I have friends. I have people that love me. I can talk to them and ask them questions. I got people that I know on social media. Well, I don't really know them, but we're following each other. We're friends, but we're not really friends. But Facebook say we're friends. I can put it out there. Hey, Facebook family on IG. Recommendation. TikTok. Help. We love to help people. Humans love to help. Sometimes we get so caught up in our helping that we lose ourselves, which is the next thing that I want to talk about. So brace yourself, all the empaths. How many of you in here are empaths? How many of you would say, yes, I'm an empath? Most of us on a spiritual journey, in the spiritual community, often say, I'm an empath. Yeah, I'm an empath. I feel everything. Oh my God, it wipes me out. It wipes me out. It wipes me out. Which I think is crazy to some extent. I don't use that. I don't say I'm an empath. But if I look at it, what it means to be an empath, yes, I feel energy. And from childhood, I guess maybe, I'm sure from childhood. Yes. I had a dream a few days ago, and it's letting me know right now, but I'm not going to tell you about that dream right now because that's not what we're talking about. Anitra is in the house. Welcome. Yes, now the place is different because you're here. I had a dream. But anyway, we all can feel energy, every one of us. Every one of us. And some of us, we've honed it, we've fine-tuned it, we've worked it, we've practiced it. But sometimes we'll learn this new skill about us, and then we make that be a problem. The problem, I just can't go out. Now, I really want you to hear me because I'm one of those people. When I was living in America, I didn't mind going to Walmart. I actually like Walmart. And anywhere I go shopping, anywhere I go in and get out. But Walmart was one of those places. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because it's so big. Maybe there's something in the air. I don't know. But it's like, I don't want to stay too long in there. It's like, oh my God. I feel like I'm swimming through molasses. Like, there was a meme that was that was going around many years ago. I'm sure I have it somewhere, but I'm not going to look for it now. And it had a picture of people wearing like spacesuit, and it says an empath going into Walmart. They had the helmet and the mask and the suit. Some of us feel that. Now, I knew that I was. Nick just said, I don't care for Walmart. Yeah. Yeah, maybe it's she said she doesn't like it too because maybe it's because of the bigger store. Maybe. I like their price because it's always rolling. When I go to Walmart and I buy something that's more than what it said on the shelf, I'm like, nope, this is what it said on the shelf. I'm paying what it said on the shelf, and they'll change it. And sometimes I'll buy something, they might say $10, and when I get there, they say $7.99. I ain't telling nobody. I'm like, hey, that's what the machine said. Anyway, I digress. So, the idea of this show came to me about a week ago. Yes, about a week ago. So I made a note because I knew this was what we were going to talk about. And it hit me in a new way. Because when you look at people who are successful, they are themselves. They are being themselves. There's a sort of confidence. There's a sort of knowing. They go through life. But unless, I don't want to say it like that, but I'll say it like that. Unless you have cultivated some space in yourself to be at peace on a more regular basis, it's hard to be in this world. You've got to have a place that you go to within yourself. Sometimes it may be stepping away from people. But anyway, so there was a lot of download that I got around being yourself is the key to be successful. And then as I started to embrace it and take it in, a friend of mine had sent me 2 videos. And I think she sent it like 2 weeks ago. But I saw the message thing on IG. I hadn't looked at it. A few days ago, I don't know, maybe what's today? Today's Tuesday. So maybe, sometime last week, I looked at it. The first one I looked at. You're welcome, my dear brother. We're all in this together. We're all in this together. William said, "Thank you, thank you for all your hard work and care for us." Yeah, we came for one another. You know, seeing you made me feel like, whew, my brother's in the house. Always nice to see you. It's an anchor. So we got two Williams in the place. We're all in this together, and I am who I am because of you. So we're doing this together. Did I make that very clear that we're doing this together? We're doing this together. So anyway, I found this video, right, and it's by someone that used her her handle is empathic coach. So I clicked the video, I tapped on it, started listening. She said, if you're an empath, you are probably a people pleaser. I was like, hey, slow down. If you're a people pleaser, you're probably a perfectionist. I'm like, okay, now I don't know you, lady. Back off. If you're a perfectionist, you probably procrastinate. I'm like, you're doing too much. I don't know you like that. And then she goes on to say, if you procrastinate, you probably self-sabotage. I was like, somebody gonna come get this woman. And she said, if you self-sabotage, you probably afraid of being rejected. I'm like, whoa, just stop right there. It rocked me. Now I've shared it with quite a few of my friends. Some of them are like, and some are saying, woo, she dropped it. See, so and there's more to the video, but I'll stop there for a minute. People pleasing. I care more for others than I care for myself. Perfections. Well, you know, I like to make sure things are perfect before I send it out, before I put it out there. It gets in the way. We end up procrastinating. We please others and think that's a good thing to do. But there's a payoff when we do that. Now, I'm not going to throw myself under the bus and say, oh, I am completely to the far right or far left of that. I had it in me. And there probably still some, crumbles, residues. Yeah, I know, Anitra. Whoa, indeed. Let me read that again. I mean, that's how it hit me. She said, if you're an empath, you are probably a people pleaser. If you're a people pleaser, you're probably a perfectionist. If you're a perfectionist, you probably procrastinate. If you procrastinate, you probably self-sabotage. And if you self-sabotage, you probably are afraid of being rejected. And if I might share the video. I don't know if I can do it right now, but I want to stay on point because I get lost. And one of the things she said is like, you may be asking, how do we go from being an empath to being fear of judgment and being rejected and all that fear of being rejected? She said, not in these words, but how I understand it. Most of us recognize that we're empath. So we literally, because I watched another video, which even made it even more deeper, we connect with another and we can give it to them and say, well, what I'm feeling about you, or we offer some deep truth or some insight. And the person goes, oh my God, I needed to hear that. And we get our fix from them feeling like, we find out, because now, we've been rejected. We're afraid of being rejected. So when you offer something from that empathic place, you feel accepted. And then you end up living your life, moving through life, looking to feel the acceptance through what you give to another. It becomes a transactional relationship, which is dangerous. Yes, dangerous to being you. It causes you to keep going through this loop of life on being unsuccessful because it's transactional. And then she said, if you've been rejected as a child because your feelings were rejected, your needs were rejected, yeah. So you say, what I want, what I need, what I feel is not important. So let me cater to you. Let me support you. Because you've been shown that your feelings don't matter. You've been shown that your needs don't matter. And then she goes on to say, how do you overcome this? She said boundaries. Boundaries is another word for needs. What do you need? Take care of your need. Take care of what you need. And sometimes at the beginning, depending on where you are in consciousness, you might say, you know what? I really don't know what I need. I do, but I really don't know what I really need. That's why it's easy for me to do for others. And sometimes we do for others and we neglect ourselves. We reject ourselves. And then with all the good that we do in the world and being loving and being kind and massaging, meditating, massaging, maybe massage people. You come home sometimes still feeling like there's a void because you haven't taken time to give to yourself, to be with yourself, to be with your loneliness, to be with your grief, to be with your fear, to be with your vulnerability, to be with the fact that you feel like you were abandoned as a child, not from a place of being a victim, but just sitting with it and knowing the truth. Like, for real. I see how I show up in the relationship because I remember when I was younger, this happened. So I have trained myself to get what I didn't get when I was younger by doing A, B, or C. And when that doesn't work, I try D, E, F. And if that doesn't work, then I say, they're just selfish. They don't care about people. Their heart is closed. Sometimes that's true. But when you start taking care of your own needs, that's one of the greatest tools to being you. Are you doing things because of what you can get back, what you can get from someone? You're doing it because that's what you feel to do. And whether someone judges you, criticizes you, praises you, affirms you for doing the thing that you did, it really doesn't matter. Because if you did something that was so true for you in the moment, and someone criticizes you for that, or it turns out that's not what they needed, yeah, you may feel like, oops, my bad. But if you can face yourself and say, you know what, at that moment, I really felt like that's what was needed. There's no need to be apologetic. Sometimes we do it to be, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to cause you pain. Yes, I get it. I understand. But when you deal it, when you really fine tune it, like you could just forgive and move on. Forgive me. Forgive me. I made a mistake. That's affirming you. And just because you made a mistake yesterday doesn't mean now this is your identity. Oh my God, I'm a person that makes mistakes. I should learn not to speak to people. I shouldn't offer. No. You cannot go through life without making mistakes, without experiencing pain and struggle. What is different is how you allow yourself to move through the experience. Reminding yourself that you are the place and the space where activity is happening through. And the things that are happening that causes you to feel the heat, they're helping you melt the stuckness in your self and your lineage. You know, you are the physical representation of your ancestors. You're always representing them. The life that they live, the energetic signature lives in you. Everything, the ingredients that they used, the experience that they had, the thoughts, the vision, the struggles, the challenge, the fact that they were abused. Maybe someone was addicted. Maybe someone had mental health issues. Whatever it is, that still lives in your lineage if it hasn't been healed. A lot of what we're seeing now is what's coming up to be healed. And oftentimes we're too quick. I get it. But we're too quick to make it about a group of people. Now, a group of people can be doing some things that needs to be healed, but be careful not to become what you're trying to heal. Be careful not to become that you are judging, because you will become what you judge. You will become what you criticize. if you spend a lot of your energy doing that, you can take the wisdom of JC. When JC said, Father, forgive them. They have no idea what they're doing. That Christ consciousness, that inner knowing, the divine in you sees the bigger picture, and it can talk to itself and say, Father, Mother, God, I forgive them, because they have no idea what they're doing. Yes, they're causing pain to me physically, but the truth of who I am cannot be harmed. So I forgive them. And forgiveness and love, as you will hear me say many times, it's not passive. Love will call you out. It will call you up. I want to read something from Sacred Yes. That conversation about empath, there's a little bit more to it, because my friend sent me a second video, a YouTube video that was a little bit longer. That was 11 minutes. I remember watching it. I'm laughing because of what I'm not sure if I want to say it, but I'll say it, because that was my truth. It was my truth. I remember watching it, and first of all, I said 11 minutes, I'll come back and watch it. But chances are I wouldn't have watched it. However, when I responded to my friend based on the one that I read to you, and I said, thank you for sharing this video with me. Oh my God, she was stepping all over my toes. And she said, you're very welcome. I look forward to hearing from you about the next one. And the guy's name is Aaron Doherty or something like that. But anyway, so now she made me accountable, because she said she was looking forward to hearing from me. I was like, shit, I'm going to have to go watch it. I mean, I didn't have to, but it's a soul agreement. Her saying that I look forward to hearing your feedback. She wasn't demanding that I watch it. She was just saying, because she believed I was going to watch it. That's why she shared it with me. So I knew how to watch it, and I watched it. And oh my God, it took what I read to you earlier, it took it to the next level. I don't even have time to go into that. And it was transforming. There's so much more I can say, but I won't, because I don't have the time. But what I will do is read from the Sacred Yes. Those of you that have it, because this is something that Spirit was saying, make sure you read this. And if you don't get anything from what I'm saying, like, I don't know about this. No, I can be successful without being myself. I can buy what I need to buy and be happy. I could, have a perfect life. Yeah, I'm not really myself. I can't be myself most of the time, but I'm pretty successful. I don't know what he's talking about. They're spiritual teachers. That's fine. But what I will say to you is, whatever you do, be true to yourself, whatever that is. So, in being true to yourself, to be true to yourself, you have to listen to Spirit. It's something that you got to cultivate it, to know the voice of Spirit, how it sounds to you, so you can recognize the sound of your higher self, if you will, of your ancestors, if you will, of God, if you will. And when you hear it, sometimes it's not a hearing, it's a feeling, it's a knowing. So what I'm about to read to you now it came up for me, and I said, yeah, I think it would make sense. And for those of you who have the book, I'm waiting for, tell me the page so I can open it when you start reading it, Jackie. Page 141. The chapter is Authenticity. The Sacred Yes by Reverend Deborah L. Johnson. I'm telling you, this will make your wig itch. I have a client, and we were doing a session one day, and she said, Day, oh my God, you make my wig itch. And she was slapping her head like that. I thought it was the funniest crap. I don't mean crap, but this made my wig itch the first time I read it. And I would say this. Yes, that's right, Jackie. page 141, The Sacred Years by Reverend Deborah L. Johnson, and the chapter is Authenticity. So if you have the book, go get it. I'll give you a few seconds. And if you don't have the book, I'm telling you, if you know anything about conversations with God, if you know anything about a course in miracles and how transforming those books are, and if you don't have the Sacred Years or your deepest intent, well, really get the Sacred Years first. I always show you to you. Mine is all jack. I've had this since 2000 and actually maybe 2010 or something like that. So is that almost 20 years? No, 12 years. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But what I will say, I remember one time I was thinking of doing a workshop. I may have shared this before. So if I have, just pretend that you're hearing for the first time. I was in Atlanta in an apartment that I just moved into with my former wife at that time, and was really struggling with the workshop that I wanted to put together. It was a gathering. It's going to be a regular gathering, and I was trying to figure out how much to charge and some of my other services, and I was agonizing. When I get to there's a part that I'm going to get to. If you're listening, you will hear it. So here now, this is what I need to tell you. I picked up this book because I couldn't sleep. It was like 2-3 o'clock in the morning. So I got up and picked up this book, and I just opened up to the page, and I opened up to Authenticity. So I started to read this, and there's a particular part that you're going to hear me read, and you should be able to figure out how that hit me. Because I was like, I don't know if people are going to pay for that. Why can't I figure out how much to charge people? I was agonizing. I couldn't sleep. I was mad at myself that I was going through that. I was mad at myself that I have a gift and a talent and a skill, and I don't know how to promote it. I was mad at myself. So I'm going to read Authenticity. I'm not going to read, where am I? Let me see. Yeah, I'm going to read a little from part of the first 2 paragraphs, and then I'm going to jump. So this is Authenticity. The book, the way it's written, there's a little section, kind of like a quote. Rev D was telling me what it was called last week, 2 weeks ago. I can't remember. But anyway, and it says, in the human realm, everything of value stems from authenticity. In the human realm, everything of value stems from authenticity. Now, I got the impulse to read this a few days ago, but I didn't read it till this morning. And I was like, there you go. Being you is the key to being successful. The little section again, in the human realm, everything of value stems from authenticity. So, those of you who don't know, this is it's called The Sacred Years, Letters from the Infinite. Basically, it's a download. Prophecy oftentimes is looked at as something. Rev D is a prophet, but I'll call it a download. This is a download that she calls letters over several years. There are many more. Some of it got published and some are not published. So this one was on authenticity, as I said. So this is the divine speaking to and through Rev D, Deborah L. Johnson. Tell the people about authenticity. It is really the only thing that they need to know about in this human realm. Everything else stems from it. The healing is really about finding their authentic selves. The transformation, too, is really about authenticity. The creativity, love, everything of any value is really about finding one's authenticity and giving it expression. I'm going to read that again. Everything else stems from it, from authenticity. The healing is really about finding their authentic selves. That's the healing. Whatever healing you want, whether it's finances, whether it's relationship, whether it's professional or personal, whether it's for the world, it is about finding your authenticity, being you. The transformation too is really about authenticity. The creativity, love, and everything of any value is really about finding one's authenticity and giving it expression. Find it, express, not depress. Depress is to push it down, express is to give it life. You humans have become overly concerned with the expression aspect and have not paid enough attention to the authenticity aspect. When you do consider your authenticity, you freeze because you don't know how you freeze because you don't know how you will be able to express it. Your authentic self is the place of integration of your spirituality and your humanity. That's powerful. I'm going to read it again, but I really want you, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. We still got some time. Your authentic self is the place of integration. It is the place where your humanity and your spirituality meets. Your authentic self is the place of integration of your spirituality and your humanity. In this place, your human expressions are a reflection of both your individual uniqueness and your understanding of yourself as a spiritual being incarnate in a body who is one with the whole. I have to read that again because it's so heavy. It requires allowing it to sit. This book is not designed to just read from page to page. If you read it just like read the next page and read in 2 days, 3 days, you didn't read it. Now you just went through the pages. You didn't read it because there is no way you read these pages and not have to stop. Like, wait a minute. Like the empathic coach, when she was saying, if you're an empath, you're a people pleaser. I was like, whoa. Before I can ponder that, she said, and if you please, you're a people pleaser, then you procrastinate. I'm like, damn, slow down, lady. You're doing too much. So I'm going to read that again. Your authentic self is the place of integration of your spirituality and your humanity. In this place, your human expressions are a reflection of both your individual uniqueness and your understanding of yourself as a spiritual being incarnate in a body who is one with the whole. So this is the part I'm going to skip. There's so much more there, but I'm going to skip that. I'm going to go towards the bottom for those of you who are following along, the last chapter at the bottom. You always fear that your authenticity will not be appreciated by those whom you love. Stop right there. You always fear that your authenticity will not be appreciated by those whom you love. And you are probably right. Authenticity is really appreciated by anyone other than the author. Being you sometimes can be very scary. Telling our truth is scary within your family, to your siblings, to your parents, to your friends and cousins and nieces and nephews. Sometimes you are the one that's always bringing the wisdom, the insight, the empowering perspective, the vision. And you might be feeling like, oh my God, my nieces and nephews may think, oh my God, I talk too much. We judge ourselves. So yes, people may not appreciate your authenticity, but the question is, do you? Can you stand by with your authenticity? I'm going to continue to read. I just warn you, this is the part that slapped me in the face when I was trying to figure out how much to charge for a session for my workshop, and I just was mad at myself. So what will be your measuring stick? Your own internal valuation of yourself, or the price tag that others place on you? So what would be your measuring stick? Your own internal valuation of yourself, or the price tag that others place on you? Why do you chop yourself up? Why do you place every creative thing that is given to you on an auction block for bidding? Are you so consumed with your materialistic point of view that nothing is of worth unless it has an exchange value placed on it by someone else? Must the price of everything be determined by how much someone else is willing to give for it? What about yourself? What are you willing to give for what you have? How much are you willing to invest in yourself and in your own ideas and creative expressions? Just how much? There is one of those little sections. Then there's another chapter called Daring to be Authentic. I'm not going to read that. I'm going to actually stop now. But I want to read something out of this chapter, Authenticity. The struggle for freedom is really just a demand to be authentic. The struggle, your struggle for freedom, is really just a demand to be authentic. When you're authentic, when you're true to you, even when you mess up, you're free. When you are in yourself, when you are embracing all that is you, when you accept who you are, when you accept you are the one that's going to ask questions for days until you're clear. When you accept yourself as one that's like, yeah, I don't really care that much. I don't waste my time trying to understand what people are saying. You don't need to be like asking yourself, oh, maybe I really do need to care. Well, if you think you need to care more, take it into meditation and ask for guidance. Journal about it. I've shared this technique many times. Now, it may not work for you, but every time I do it, I mean, I've been doing it for so many years now that I'm not even surprised. Some of the shows that I do, some of the things that I share came through the download that I get. Get a journal. When you're dealing with something, it doesn't matter if you're triggered, if you're angry, if you don't know what to do, what to write. Get a journal, get a piece of paper, get a pen, and write. I often say, Dear God, you can write whatever you want. Universe, if anybody out there listening, I need you to hear me. And when you're pissed, when you're angry, when you're mad, when you're feeling lonely, when you feel broken down, it's a good place. It's a good time to do it. It's the best time to do it because the answers, when they come, you would know. When you're feeling like, yeah, all is well, I'm just doing this journal thing. In that space, you're like, oh, yeah, that's deep. But when you need to hear the voice of love, when you need the light of truth to shine on you, and you write, and don't get spiritual about it. Don't worry about, I can't say that. Love or just write your truth. Right now, I am so pissed. My husband, my wife, my girlfriend, my boyfriend, my child is getting on my last flipping nerves. I don't know what to do. I need some answers right now. It may not be that intense for you, but I'm saying that you can go there. There is nothing that you are feeling and thinking that the divine in you doesn't already know anyway, so why hide it? Right. I really need to see the lesson here. I got fired today, and everything that I gave to this job, I know I really didn't like it, but you got to tell me why this happened to me. And as you write, first of all, you're releasing the energy. You start to feel a little bit, okay. Whatever the issue is, you could do this. Ask your question. No matter how big it is, no matter how small, ask the question. Write it. Take a deep breath and listen. Now, I've been doing it for years, so I don't need to stop and go, okay, now I need to get myself in a certain state to listen for the answer. I just, all mine always starts with, let me make sure I quote it correctly. My journal is right here. Always, always. Woo! I'm inviting you to my journal. I feel a little bit vulnerable about that. But I'm only going to read the first line. I'm not reading what I wrote today because it's none of your business. Where is it? Always stop. I mean, I know it, but I want to quote it directly. Jesus. I actually feel vulnerable. I didn't think I would. See, the nudge comes, I move, and then I'm like, wait. Okay. So I'm just going to read the first sentence. And it always starts with, my dear son, I am with you always. I am with you always. That's what you're going to get. The other part of it, I'm keeping to myself because I want to. And from then on, I receive the answers. And it tells me what to do. It tells me what I sometimes I get affirmation to repeat. I got one yesterday. I got something else today, actually. We have the tools. You have the tools to be you. And if you're feeling stuck, if you feel like you just can't do it, because there are times when you're feeling so emotionally charged that you can't access the answer. There are many options. I'm one of them. LifeCoachAde.com. Book a session. Go on YouTube. Pick up a book. Get your sacred yes. Your deepest intent. A Course in Miracles. Conversations with God. A Return to Love. Let's see, what other books do I have here? Find a podcast. Or if you read, I wouldn't say it like that. But it's also good when you're feeling emotionally charged to stop, take a breath, and do just what I'm doing. Put your hand or hands on your heart and just breathe. Breathe in and breathe out. That focus is transforming. That focus will change you, because when you bring yourself back to your breath, you're bringing yourself back to God. You're bringing yourself back to life. Breath is life. Life is God. God is having its way through and as you. Before you move on to the next activity, even after this, even if you're in the middle of doing something right now, before you do something else, take a moment to breathe and call forth your successfulness. Step into being you. Experiment. When you find yourself in a situation where they ask you a question and normally you might want to just like, well, I don't know, I'll see. No, in that moment, tell the truth. No, I'm not going to do that. Oh, really? Why? What's up with the attitude? No, actually, it's not an attitude. I'm really telling you, I'm actually being honest with myself. Normally I would say what I think what people want to hear and then end up having an attitude to myself. I'm really not having an attitude right now. No, I won't be able to do that. I apologize, but really, I won't be able to do it. The process sometimes is uncomfortable. You're going to feel vulnerable, and your vulnerability is your strength. And the more you can be in that space, that place of vulnerability within yourself, the stronger you become, the more you become. Because the true you, the essence of you is pure. It is vulnerable. It is rich. It is quiet. It is still. So when you're out there in the world, when there's a lot of noise, and sometimes you're anchored in that place, but you feel like, oh, I'm too quiet. I need to say something. I feel uncomfortable. I feel lonely. No, you are in you. You are in you. You're being with you. So when you be with you, and you make friends with you, and you make love with you, and you make peace with you, it will resource you. That is the aspect of God. That is you. Being you is the key to your success. When you're being you, you're home. You're home. Home is where the heart is. And the heart is not just the organ in your chest, it's your consciousness, your mind, your heart, your body, your spirit. When you can be at home in your own flesh, in your own skin, no matter what is going on, even if you're being demonized or being criticized, then you can find that place in you to just breathe and respond. No words. And as I said, if you need help and you want to translate the insight into actions, you know where to find me. lifecoachade.com. And if you feel like what you got blessed you, touched you, and you want to do an exchange of energy, it's not a transaction. You're giving, you're contributing to a place that nurtured you. What's her name? You can see her name. It's this New Thought teacher. It's there. It may come to me just before I finish. Always, one of the things that I learned, she has these 4 principles. Given to a place where your soul has been nurtured. You can tithe and give a love offering to a church, to a spiritual center. You can tithe and give a love offering to an author, to a teacher, to a podcaster. Because you're investing in the place where that supported you in healing and nourishing your soul. So there's PayPal, paypal.me/ADE and ANIFOWOSE. PayPal.me.ade and Venmo is the same thing, same name. My name, Cash App is Life Coach Ade. And thank you for being here. And I want to invite you to sign my mailing list. Join me if you can this Saturday. Why is that not showing up? Wait a minute. Oh, I see. I wanted to put the information from my website, but that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm doing too much. Okay, so I want to leave that there. And I want to flash this. Where'd it go? I think somebody's been in here, been messing with my behind the scenes. Okay. Anyway, join me for the grief ritual this Saturday. The link that will take you to find out more information and register is Ancestral Healing, bit.ly/Ancestral Healing, number 9, add the 9 to it, number 9, bit.ly/Ancestral Healing, and the number 9. And the one I'm doing July 9th, which is What's in a Name. The link to that page is bit.ly/Your Ancestors, the number 3. bit.ly/Your Ancestors and the number 3. Let's grow together. Healing happens in community. We help each other grow. We help each other heal. Tomorrow evening, night, for those of you in America, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, and 2 a.m. UK time. Join me and my dear sister friend, Ricky Byers, for Soul Fulfilling, where you get to hear Ricky's music, the stories, the experience that inspired it. On Monday, every Monday, 11:45 Eastern, my co-host another podcast with some friends, Cecile Armstrong and Christine Gautreaux. The link for that, the link for Ricky is, you can go to YouTube, youtube.com/Ricky Byers for Playing with Possibilities with Cecile and Christine. You can find that on my page. You can find that on my LinkedIn page. It's my name, Adeyani Fuwishe, and on my profile page on Facebook. And what's the other thing I need to tell you? I told you about my event. And of course, let me tell you about Libsyn. Libsyn is a podcast hosting site. If you're thinking of hosting your site, your podcast, a show, or maybe you already have a podcast hosting site, but you're looking for another one, check out libsyn.com, libsyn.com, libsyn.com. And I won't go into long details. You go read up. And if it resonates with you and you want to try them out, use my promo code ADE. If you use that, you get at least a month free. If you sign up today, for example, you get the rest of this month free and the whole of July. My advice is always wait till the 2nd of the month. Don't sign up on the 1st of the month. But if you want to sign up on the 2nd of the month. So you have, like, if you sign up on the 2nd of July, you have the whole of July free and the whole of August. I mean, what a gift. But you must use my promo code ADE. If you don't use that, you are SOL. I love you, I bless you, I appreciate you, and I thank God for you. It is time to release this conversation. It's been time. Thank you for being here. Do share the show. Like it, spread the word. Join me for representing our ancestors, and see you next time. And of course, whatever you do, make sure you multiply this consciousness and always be you.
Be who you are.